Hey san, stay san. I'm Daisy Victoria, and today we are going to take a look at how to make this Språng hairnet, which is similar to those found in the Bronze Age. There have been some hairnets discovered in burials in Denmark dating to the Bronze Age. These hairnets are created using a technique called Språng weaving, and they are a part of this type of outfit that you may find on a Danish Bronze Age woman. To start, I'm using this Loom setup that I bought at Joann's some time ago for another project. You can use anything that's basically a box. I've seen people do Språng using like a picture frame or something. I've also seen some museum demos where they do Språng using just a bent over piece of sticks or wood or whatever. So as long as you have a frame, you can do this. This one just happened to be about the right size for what I am working on here. So to start, you're going to need to secure your string and then wind it around your frame. How many times you wind it depends on how big you want your project to be. I wound mine about 60 times around for this particular one. And this is the second one I made. I did make a pink one first to kind of try it out. This one came out a lot better, but I think on both of them I ended up with 60 wraps of my yarn. When you finally get to the end, you want to tie off that last piece of yarn there so it's all secure with your 60 or however many loops that you need. When doing Språng weaving, it's very helpful to have some sticks to kind of hold your work in place. I'm going to use these knitting needles. They're convenient. I've got them laying around, so we'll go with it. To start, you're going to need basically a setup row of weaving. We're going to take one thread from the back, one from the front, one from the back, one from the front. And so I'm just alternating. So I take one from the back to the front, then one from the front to the back. So they're kind of forming a little twist there at the top. And I'm going to do this all the way across the entire row. What's really cool about Språng is that it does the work twice what you're actually doing, because you're twisting these threads at the top and the bottom every time you twist them. At this point, you have that twist at the top and at the bottom. And here's a good place to stick those sticks, or in my case, knitting needles, in there to hold the work in place. If you don't put sticks in there, your work will just come apart. And in fact, that is a way that you can correct errors. So if you have your sticks placed in there and you realize you made an error 2 rows ago, you can take out 2 rows of sticks and correct the error and keep moving. So that's why it's a good idea to use as many sticks as you need to secure as many rows as you need. Next, we're going to continue the Språng weaving. For this row, I'm going to take 2 threads from the back, then one from the front, then one from the back, one from the front, one from the back, one from the front, all the way to the end. So it's the same as the last, except we're starting with 2 from the back this time. And then when we get to the end of that row, because we started with 2 from the back, we're going to end having 2 from the front. For For the next row, we're going to take one from the back and then one from the front again. So just like the initial setup row, one from the back, one from the front, all the way down the row. So this is the basic pattern of Språng weaving. We do one from the back, one from the front, alternating all the way down the row. The next row we start with two from the back. The next row we start with one. The next row two. So you're just alternating, starting with one or two strings each row. And that is essentially your most basic Språng. So you just repeat that and keep on weaving until you get to the center and you essentially run out of space to weave. Now a note here on the sticks, I'm only working with a few sticks, so I'm actually taking them out as I work. I feel pretty comfortable if I have a couple of rows with sticks in them, that the ones beyond that are fine. However, you can use as many sticks as you want. You can leave a stick in every row until the very end if you like that. Basically, the thing is you are using the sticks to keep things in place, and you need to keep things in place as much as it feels comfortable for you. When you get to the center, if you just take the sticks out, everything's going to come out. So we need to do something to keep that in place. And what we're going to do is a chain stitch. This is sort of a crochet thing. And in my opinion, this is the hardest part of the Språng. You may or may not agree with that based on your experience. I'm not a crocheter, so that may have something to do with it. So you make a little loop around your crochet hook, and then I've seen this done using one thread at a time or two threads at a time. It works just fine both ways, but you're going to take that thread and then take it through the loop of the crochet hook, and then you're going to take the next thread and take it through that loop, and then you're going to keep going, and you'll end up with a little chain stitch in the middle. At the end, I put a little thread in there to just hold that in place, and then it's time to remove this from the frame. I placed a string through all those loops at the top and the bottom because I'm actually going to use those to turn this into a hairnet. And it looks like the weaving is a lot thicker at one end and thin towards the middle, but we'll be able to even that out. I'm tying one set of ends together, and that's going to form the back of the hairnet. And I'm looking at my pink one here that I made before to make sure that I'm doing things consistently. Next, I've made these braided strings, which I'm going to use as the ties for my hairnet. There are multiple ways that you can braid strings, multiple ways that we've found cords created from the Bronze Age. And of course, you can use any cord you like because it's your project and it's up to you. So I'm going to stick these cords through here, right where I have those strings. So here we have the side where we tied all the loops together, and what we're going to do is take these cords up along the sides of the Språng there a little bit, because I'm actually going to sew the very back of the hairnet together. So that way it's going to form a little bag or encasing in the back there. So I'm making sure these cords stay in place so that I can work with it. So next I am using my yarn needle to sew my Språng work together. In these hairnets that I made, I ended up sewing my work about up to the center pretty much, like where I have it chained together. Now you might want to vary how much you sew up depending on how much hair you want to contain and how the fit is and everything like that. But this worked out okay for me. And this is what we do see in the original Danish finds. We see the hairnets sewn up a little bit to create that little bag in the back. So now, just like magic, that very long, thin piece of weaving has turned into a hairnet. So cool. And then it's time to try it on and see how it looks. I think Språng weaving is a little fiddly, but it was fun to do, and I'm pleased with these little hairnets. I think they're really nice. I love how it kind of gives me a feel for something that someone in the Bronze Age would have done and would have worn. I am definitely planning on creating more Bronze Age clothing. I mean, now I need something to go with my hairnets anyway, so you can look forward to more Scandinavian and German Bronze Age outfits from me coming up in the future. I hope that you've found this inspirational and potentially useful if you yourself are getting into Språng. This is a method of weaving that we find throughout antiquity up through the Middle Ages and Renaissance. I know there are a lot of finds in the Germanic region all throughout the next, couple thousand years. So this is definitely a useful skill to have. And whether you're doing something historic or maybe this is perfect for your next modern project, whatever it is you're doing, I would love to see what you come up with. Find me on all the social medias as Daisy Viktoria. My website is daisyvictoria.com, and a special thank you to my patrons over on Patreon who help me so much to continue creating content. And don't forget to check out our Discord server and inspire each other there as well. I hope you all have an absolutely magical day, and I will see you again real soon. Bye-bye!